actually do something really interesting in my life. Hello everyone, today is going to be a quite different episode because I thought maybe I should get into a little more to graphic design and photography, and as I've said in my other videos, I would like to take you on a journey to what I actually exactly do at my full-time job. If you are here for the first time on my channel, hello, and I'm Paulina, I'm from Poland. And for almost 6 years now, I live in Granada and I work full-time in editorial graphic design industry. If you haven't seen my other videos, how I ended up in Spain, you can check them out. But in the shortcut version, I'm going to tell you that I just moved without any plan, without any backup plan. And I believe that this is going to be the place for me to live in. I actually haven't expected to be here over 5 years because this year is going to be 6th year that I'm living in Granada. I thought it would be like a bus stop for me on my journey and I will be probably in a different place, but here we are. I am really proud of myself that I am already here so many years. And this year is going to be very special to me because I evolved in the company I work for from the junior position to senior. I've really done an amazing job and I would like to share with you what I do because I think maybe it can help some people if they want to get into graphic design industry. I will start from how I became a graphic designer. I don't know if I mentioned it in my other videos, but I didn't know I will be a graphic designer because my dream job was always to be a photographer, a product photographer and landscape photographer for National Geographic or for magazines. But while working in an agency in Poland, I learned how to be a graphic designer and quite fast actually. Within 2 years I became a head graphic designer for a magazine. So the layout was completely designed from me from the beginning, like from zero, from scratch. I was really proud of myself and I thought like maybe I could connect photography and graphic design. So this is why we are here. So I can connect with you and share with you my creative process and everything what I've done. Maybe not everything, what I actually have here. I work for the international company that is based in Montreal, but they have also offices all over Europe. They are manufacturer and distributor specializing in stationery and merchandising products. So as we can see, we have 2 departments. We have merchandising department and stationery department. So I am in the stationery department, obviously, because I specialize in composition and layouts in print. So the company I work for works with many licensees like Warner, Paramount, Disney, Pushkin, and The Little Prince, Moomin, and lots of anime. I could go on. I could really go on how many licenses we have. So we have many designers. We work creatively and with licenses. Creatively with licenses is a little different thing, because normally, not always, they have their own brand lines, guidelines that you have to follow, like Pantones, effects, colors, illustrations. They normally give you things that you have to use, but not all of the licenses. Some of them, they give you a guideline, but it's not complete, and you also have to be very, very, very creative and illustrator to create something from scratch. I've worked with not so many licenses, but the ones that I have here, I've worked for a few years. Some of them I worked already like 5 years. So this part is going to be about licenses. So the first creative work that I've done in this company was when they were trying to create a brand within a company, and that was like the first planner that I created for this brand. I am really proud of this, to be honest, because it was my first baby, editorial baby in the company. And to be honest, my job is also branding. I haven't realized this until this year, when I was looking at the products, and I said, oh my God, like many of the products I created was branding, because you have to decide the colors, typos, like how do you want the product to look like? How do you want to represent it? For who do you want to design for? Like, is it going to be only for, I don't know, kids? Or is it going to be for teenagers? Or if it's going to be for anyone? So this was the first, like they gave me a topic. They told me this is going to be called Japanese art. So from the beginning, I had to research illustrations. I wanted it to be a book. Unfortunately, I couldn't design the interior, because they had like a guideline. When I entered the company, they had already a guideline for the interiors. So I couldn't change it a lot. I could change, for example, fonts, colors, that was it. When I was designing this product, I knew that I'm going to hide messages. So for example, when you go to April was the month that I decided that I'm going to move to Granada. I already bought tickets, and I knew that I'm going to be living here. I've decided to use Japanese illustration of Kono Bairei with the quote that says, "The day you decide to do it is your lucky day." So yeah, I am hiding messages in every planner that I design. You have no idea that it's related to my life, but I think sometimes that if I do it, maybe you will be a little more connected to my life, and maybe it will shape a little of your life. I like to do this kind of things, to use my life as a reference when I design a product. Like in music, people feel connected to lyrics, and this is exactly what I'm doing while designing an editorial product. I will attach the link below to my portfolio if you would like to check it. And if you have any questions, obviously you can ask. Of course, I can do a part even 3. So the next product license that I had from the very beginning, when I entered the company, it was 2019, and they told me to design 2 posters from The Little Prince. The Little Prince is a license that they have their vectors and they have their illustrations, and this year they actually do much more. They want to expand the guideline. But when I entered, they didn't have many things. So you had to think, how would you like to brand the Little Prince. Obviously, they have already their own colors. Blue, cream, vintage style, And if you haven't read the book, you have no idea what it's about. And everybody interprets the book as they want. It can be for kids, it can be for adults. Everyone will understand the book in its own way, and it's for everyone. When I read this book when I was, I don't know, young, I didn't understand it. I read it again when they told me that I will be designing the Little Prince, and I said, wow, I haven't understood it that way when I was younger. Now I see lots of other things, So I don't know. There are people who say that they don't like The Little Prince, but I think it's really a really genius book. Seriously. Actually, this is not a book. This is a notebook that I designed, and it's very special because I could use 2 foils. Foil is an effect that you can see when something is really like this shiny. This was, I think, the first product that I had to design after posters. This is what I got for my birthday from my friends, from my 2 girlfriends that work with me in the company. It's amazing. And this book is only in Spanish, and it's a pop-up book. Like I will show you some of the things that I know that this video was going to be too long. I'm sorry. They're like pop-up things, you see? And for example, here you have another thing. So yeah, this is a very, very amazing a book. I am really, as we can see, a fan of The Little Prince. Then my boss was in Thailand, and he bought for me The Little Prince in Chinese. Thailandese, from Thailand. So it looks like this, but then when you open it, you see and then I have another Little Prince book, and this one is very, very special because it's written in Andalusian, and I want to record a video one day trying to read it and understand it. This is how it looks, and it's called El Principito, I don't know, but it's very interesting, so I'm going to leave it for another video. And let's go back to the products. Then we have, for example, a travel notebook as well. And then I have also planners. I don't have products from the other years like 2021, 2022. I don't have them because when I was younger, I thought I will not need them and I will never show them to anyone, which obviously was a mistake. This one was very interesting because this is like full of colors. Like I was into lilac, pastel, lilac. So yeah, when I design products, I always think like what do I want people to perceive? And I know that normally The Little Prince is perceived as a childish thing, but for me it's more for adults. I don't know, that I think like only adults can actually understand the real message in this book. So for example, this one has a effect. Here is like foil embossed black, and this one is this effect is called holographic transparent foil. And the message says what is essential is invisible to the eye, because normally when you see the product like this, you don't see a message, but there is a message. The back cover also has the same effect, which is much more visible, and it's very, very thick. This one is a page, so it's very thick, this planner. And I like that you can here, like when you have a planner, you can design everything from stickers to the interior like inner text. And the most amazing thing is that in the beginning, when I entered the company, we couldn't personalize the interiors. But then year with year, I was able to convince my bosses to do something about it, and now everybody can do whatever they want and how they see it, which is really amazing because every designer is completely different, and every designer has a completely different choices of fonts, of colors, and how they perceive the license. So this is how I perceive the Little Prince that we can see. This one is from 2023, and this planner is for 2024-2025. Is academic planner, which means it starts in August and it ends in July. This one is also very special to me because it also has a message invisible and a very beautiful foil of the Le Petit Prince and the stars. Obviously, the illustration is from the license because they provided a new one for that year. And here is written, the stars are guides. I really love this planner. Like I'm telling you, like every year I can't stop designing the Little Prince because it's such a beautiful license. And obviously the interior also is very special to me because for the first time I designed a fully complete interior of a planner, of a license. Oh, and also we have the inside bookmarks. These are so beautiful, I'm telling you, because I could do a double-faced foil effect. The stars are guides, and this one is, what is important is invisible to the eye. And here you have stars as well. And I also designed a ruler. It also has a shiny effect. Those are the bookmarks of the Little Prince over the years. They are completely different, not connected. Because every year I change my mind. Oh, I forgot to mention that when we design a product like this, we have a complete control over everything what you see right here. What kind of color is going to be the spiral? What kind of color is going to be an elastic band? Grommets, even the colors of grommets. So the designer has to work with Pantone chips, catalogs, foils, effects. And another thing that I have here is a stationery set of the Little Prince. We also get to design many other products. Like for example, in this one, we have clips, highlighters, pens, pencils, stickers, and even notebook. We also get to design here the colors and this little hanger as a star. We also get to design. We can choose if it's going to be a rubber patch, a metal, everything. We really know a lot of things as I can see. Oh yeah, I have one thing that I've designed a few months ago, and it's also the Little Prince tote bag. You know, like I normally, when I watch videos of people who design this kind of things, they have no idea anything about materials they use. Like, this is already taken care of. At the company I work for, designers are learning how to work with the different materials, with different printing effects, and we get to choose what we are going to use in the product. We have this kind of advantage that probably I think that the other companies don't have. We have pre-printing samples. So we get something, and if we don't like it, we can work to make it better. So for example, I get the sample from this, but I don't know, the colors are bad, the printing is awful, and we can see that it's not waterproof, that we don't want polyester, we want cotton. If we don't like the size of the label, we can change it. We can add different things as well, like this little label I could also design. This one, for example, is 100% cotton. Here you have also white ink. That's why this tote bag is very expensive, but it's worth it. I'm telling you, it's worth the money because it doesn't destroy very easily. I washed it in the washing machine and it didn't fell off. It was my first tote bag designing. It was a disaster. I almost cried. It was so hard to design this thing. Another thing that I have, but I already have only one product of that license, is BTS. For 3 years, I designed their planners and this notebook. This is how the notebook looks like. It's black. This is how it looks like when you open it. In that album, they were into orange a lot. You know, sometimes we work with licenses that we don't know. So we have to study the license before actually designing the product. This one was really fun, you know, like listening to the music and trying to figure out what actually they like. The interior is very, very simple. It has only squares. I don't know if you can see. But yeah, it was very interesting to work with BTS. I also work with BT21. But I don't have any products right here. Another license that I worked for a few years, but I only have a few things right here, is Alice in Wonderland. It also has a special effect right here. For me, notebooks are like books. You can choose everything. You can choose the colors of the edges. You can choose if the notebook is going to have a pen or not. You can choose headbands, ribbons, colors. And this one was like really, I was also into lilac at that moment, that time of my year. Like, you can also choose the paper if you want coated or offset, uncoated, or if you would like, I don't know, 100 grams paper or 90. This is another product this is a planner for this year. It's also from August 2024 till July 2025. Here I went I don't know, many people told me that it looks like I ate mushrooms. So sometimes I call it Alice in Mushroom Land. This guideline didn't have many illustrations. So when I decided to take that guideline, I had no idea what I'm doing. I had like only 4 patterns for this guideline, and the rest of them are created by me. So this is how looks the cover. It also has an effect of holographic because I really wanted to have a different vibe of Alice in Wonderland. I wanted to give it more adult vibe. And interior is exactly the same as for the Little Prince planner. It also has stickers which are really interesting. They are so black, also very adulty. The interior every month has a pattern that I designed, and also like weekly schedule, fitness, self-care, and days. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention in the other planner as well that this planner had a question for each day. When I design planners, daily planners, for me, it is like a little diary. I don't want these planners to be just a thing that you have to write the tasks. This is not going to be just a notebook that you write your words in. For me, this is a product that is going to change your life. I'm serious. I'm not joking right now. For example, when you open this planner, you have questions like, for example, which words I know you? How do you uplift your mood? What is your favorite color and number? Are you a determined person who pursues all your goals? Yeah, so if you want to check this out, you have to buy it. And also I have a merchandising thing, which is a pencil case, stationery, merchandising. I don't know, to be honest, but yeah. We also get to design this little thing, you see. So another license that I have right here is, when I was a kid, I watched this movie many times, and with my sister we always made like many sandwiches and drinks, like juice, like we didn't drink alcohol when we were like 12 or 10. We sat really close to the screen of the television and we just ate and watched it. It's one of my favorite movies from Disney from that times, and it is...
Ow! Jeez, what was that for? It doesn't matter. It's in the past.
The Lion King. Yay! So when they told me that I'm going to design the Lion King notebook special edition because it turned 30 years last year, you can't imagine my happiness. And I'm seeing the movie and I'm crying, like this kind of feelings from being a kid. So when you design this kind of product, you have a total freedom of how you want this to look like. This could be completely different design, like this could be colorful with a white background, black background, whatever, and soft touch maybe. I decided to go with velvet. It's like really softy. It feels like you are really touching a cat. And then obviously I wanted to go with orange because, like the sunset, the Lion King has this scene from the beginning with this music. Then we also get to design the clip. You can decide if you would like to have a clip or not. And effects, I decided to go also with this foil. This is how it presents when you are looking at the cover and back cover together. This pattern is also from the Lion King. And the interior is very simple. It has the most important characters of the movie, and then you have a logo of the 30th anniversary, squared interior, and a logo. So I'm really proud of this project, Oh yeah, and also when you design spine, you can decide if you want to have it squared or rounded. Do you see the difference? This is the bottom one is a rounded spine and the upper one is squared. I went with the rounded spine because I felt it fits much more. This is like already too long and I wanted to do that. That's why I wanted to make 2 parts. Another one, license, the Moomins! The first planner that we designed, it was in 2022 because this one came out in 2023. So when you design a planner, you do it 1 year earlier. That's why sometimes I laugh because I have no idea what year we are in and how old I am. This is because we design calendars and products that are for the future. So you have to be ahead of trends. You have to think about everything before actually it starts to be cool. Trends changing every month. It's very, very hard for designers. Another, it was like a year later. And then for this year, because it was an anniversary of Moomin, it is actually in August. Every year is different. From this year's very, very, very beautiful one. And I took pictures of it today in the morning and I already published it in my portfolio. So you can check it out. I really like that this planner has the UV effect. You can see it, like the shiny thing. But only the lines, only the black ones. Like I always come back, when I think about Moomin, I always come back to times of my studies when I knew a guy. He was one of my best friends. His name was Piotr. We had sessions of watching one episode per night of Moomins. And it was incredible because we didn't even drink alcohol. I just went to his room and we just watched one episode of Moomin per day. And that's how we watched all of the episodes. When we didn't party or after parties, when I came back at 11 or 12 o'clock, we just wanted to watch Moomin. Because in Poland, at 7 o'clock, normally, you have a thing that's called Dobranocka, which is like a cute way to say good night. So it was like for kids to watch animations at 7 o'clock every day. And after that hour, you had to brush your teeth and go to bed. So every time when I actually think about Moomin, that I am designing their products, I am very connected. I have also the planners for this year right here, but I can't show it to you yet. When I can, I will show you. And they are completely different from everything that I've designed till now. You know, they are very colorful. And the illustrations, I can say that I created by myself using their vectors. So I created every month from scratch. And yeah, and we are getting very close to finishing the Moomin collection. And I'm really proud of it. So probably in the next few months, I will show you the whole collection of Moomin, and I will talk about the products and behind the scenes. If you liked the particular product, you can tell it in the comments. And please, if you have any comments, would you like to know more how looks my work, how I design, or maybe behind the scenes of designing process, of thinking process, of creating guideline, of creating brand line for the license or for the other things, like please ask, because in that way I can actually know what to tell you in the other video that I'm having already in my mind. In my second part of the video, I will get into much more creative part of my stationery editorial work, because those are going to be planners like this one, for example, planners that you design from scratch, your ideas, your thinking process, and everything that hasn't been done yet. More like very, very creative work. Thank you for watching if you stick with me until the end, and I will see you in the next one. Yeah, bye! So let's start from the beginning. I work full-time. I'm sorry. Elaine? So let's start from the beginning. My job as a graphic designer is to design products, obviously. Ja pierdolę. Już zaczęłam chujowo. What the f*** I do? Jesus. Nie podoba mi się w ogóle. So this year is very special. Kur... They are manufacturer. They are This is... what the f***? Because, you know, I'm doing this. Because I get bored easily. Oh yeah, I will show you my kitten. She's already big. She's bigger than in the other videos. Oh my god, she's so sleepy. She was running. Yeah? Moje kochanie? Co to... Co taki flak z ciebie, ty? Niunia? Niunia? She's so funny. Bye!